But yeah, thank you everybody for showing up. My name's Josh, and I'm a faculty at Dallas College Richland Game Design Program. Today I have Mr. Benny Liang. He is a level designer, level artist at ProbablyMonsters, and he's going to share with you guys his story and how he got into the industry. And then, yeah, if you guys have any questions, be free, feel free to save them for the end. And yeah, thank you everybody for coming, and thank you for doing this, Benny. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. All right, let's
Absolutely.
get started. Hello, everyone. Today I'll be presenting a PowerPoint of how I broke into the industry. Let's get started. So let me introduce myself real quick. I'm Benny. I'm currently at ProbablyMonster as a level designer. Previously, I graduated from UTD fall 2022 under the ATech degree with the Games Pathway focus. And then when I first got started, I started with an internship at Alexis State Agency. I believe they were a design company. This was when I was still in university. I think about like third year, so junior year. And during that time, when I took the internship, I was kind of, I guess I was kind of desperate for internship because word were going around, oh, you gotta have an internship in order to kind of break into the industry after graduation. But honestly, that's not the case. And this internship that I did helped me realize a lot of things. What I'll say for internships is that for anyone who's looking for internships currently, um, try to do your research. Try to get internships that with reputable studios or companies, rather than taking on a internship that is not paid and it's like volunteer work. Usually, those types of internships aren't very nice in a sense. What I mean is like they either they don't know what they're doing, or they're trying to kind of exploit you for what they want, based on uh, your needs of like, oh, I want an internship, so I'm gonna like help them out, type of thing. So be careful of that. That's what happened to here at Alexa State Agency. Unfortunately, they weren't really teaching me much. However, I was a project lead, so I knew what most of the things that I was supposed to do, and so I kind of exercised that thanks to a couple of classes I took prior to this internship. And so I did have a early exposure on being like a lead in a lead position. So at least I got that out of the internship. And then afterwards, I moved on to It Does Interactive as a contractor for level design. This was, let's see, was after graduation. So that's what happened. Kind of coasted along that until I hit my job here. Where I'm currently work at is at ProbablyMonsters. So I've been here since October 2024 until now. I'm still employed. Yay. But yeah, that's a little bit of my background. So let's go to the next slide. All right, so now that you kind of know a little bit about my job history, let's kind of rewind to after undergrad for me. So after undergrad, I was that typical college student who didn't really do much outside from attending class, going back home, do your homework, and just rinse and repeat. I was never really into any clubs, never really socialize in public events and whatnot. I was kind of just myself, being by myself, and just kind of do what I'm told to do in terms of classes. That was going on. Had no clue what to do after undergrad because of that. And then obviously job market sucks. It still sucks today, unfortunately. I had zero industry experience. I wouldn't even count the internship that I did as like industry and experience, because it wasn't that. It did not have a high impact on my career. And then little to no network, people who are in the industry. So obviously I just didn't network because I didn't really go to any events. And so like the only people I knew were like professors and couple people that I worked with and my friends, I guess, in this. And so without all of that, throughout my 4 years at university, um, there were three things that are commonly popping up in terms of what I hear in terms of, oh, we got to get ready for the industry by this, that, and that. Uh, that being the essentials. What I call the essentials is LinkedIn, a portfolio, and a resume. And so all these three things is basically what you need to set up in order for you to kind of get yourself out there in the market and try to get a job. And so I'm going to emphasize these three things real quick. I believe it's crucial for anyone who is here. Either you're about to graduate or you're new or you're just in the middle. I think all these three things needs to be done before you graduate. That would be very beneficial for all of you. So LinkedIn, obviously, put all your details into LinkedIn. You could also search for jobs on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is it's a very crucial thing to have when you're trying to look for a job or network. You could also connect with people on LinkedIn. What I'll say is don't make a LinkedIn and then just add everyone you see on your suggested page. If you do that low enough, LinkedIn will actually flag your account and think you're a bot. So don't do that. Just add people that you know. And then what I will say is try to connect with people who you're in the field of where you're trying to be. So for example, if you're an animator, look for animators on LinkedIn. And if you're curious, shoot them a message about your question. Half the time, this industry is have a lot of nice people, and so sometimes they would actually answer you and answer your question. And by doing that, you basically just gain a little connection by just asking them questions and having them be helping you. But with that said, don't be discouraged when people say no to you on LinkedIn as well. Like there's two sides of coins. So one is like friendly, they will accept you. Two, like they'll just ignore you. If you get ignored, totally fine. Just move on to the next person. It's totally fine. Do not be discouraged by that. And then portfolio wise, I'll just quickly touch up in terms of portfolio of what you should use. I think that's a common question that most people have. So if you're an artist, ArtStation is your go-to. Designers, it could be either your own portfolio or ArtStation, depending on which of the spectrum you're at. If you're more technical, if you're more of a technical designer, I would probably suggest your own personal website. If you're more on the art side, like me, ArtStation is perfect for that. And then in terms of resume, if you don't have any industry experience or any type of job experience that is related to what you're trying to get to, just put your projects that you've been working on, and guess class group project as well is totally fine. Everyone's got to start somewhere, but I think that would be very beneficial to just put that on your resume when you don't have an actual, previous job. Don't put like you worked at a boat place. Only put relevant experience on your resume as well as your LinkedIn. So don't be putting that you worked at TJ Maxx for 10 years, because that's not related to anything that you're trying to do, and people who are recruiters would not care about that. So there's that. So now I'm gonna touch on networking. Networking is a huge part of getting yourself into like the industry, because you just have to know people in this industry. It's kind of crazy how everyone is so close netted in the industry. So for example, like I know a couple of my coworkers, and my coworkers know a couple of people, and it just kind of loops around. So like I know one person and I know this person, but they both don't do the same thing or live the same place or at the same studio, but at some point they just know each other. And so networking is that crucial. Like you'll be knowing one person that might know another person that you know, and you're like, whoa, what the heck? And so now you can imagine that like everyone just basically knows each other at this point by the I don't know what the thing is, like something degree. Anyways, I think you know what I mean. Um, so so for networking, it might be daunting for some of you. Um, it was very scary for me personally because I'm an introvert, and so how I kind of broke out of that shell was I started small. So during when I was still taking classes, one of my professors suggested a Discord group for me to join, which is called 3D Crew. And during that time, I was doing a lot more environment art, and I was taking his virtual environment class at UTD. And so he kind of just invited me to the Discord. He suggested that I put my work uh, onto the server to get critiqued, get feedback, and maybe meeting some people. And so, I kind of just took that, and I just mostly used it to look for feedback and get critiqued. I do lurk sometimes there because still at that point I was pretty shy, so I just wanted to like get feedback and just kind of polish up my work and just get it done over with. But after graduation, that's when I realized that I got to do something to kind of level up my networking. And so what I did was every day I would just go into the 3D Crew Discord server and just sit in the lobby, and then have my screen shared whenever I'm doing like a personal project. So anyone who was curious could just like hop in and just kind of see what I was doing. And eventually, a couple of people got curious and started joining, and that became like a regular occurrence. And during that time, one of my good friends who owns It Does Interactive joined in, and he kind of saw me creating this portfolio piece here, the Green Castle, as well as sometimes like it doesn't necessarily need to be like you always have to work in there. Sometimes we'd be goofing off, we'd be just talking about random stuff or play games. And one of the games that recently came out during the time was Crab Champions. And so a couple of us just kind of bonded over playing Crab Champions and um, working on personal projects. Then I got reached out by Marco, who I've been talking to on the Discord for quite a while now. And he's like, "Hey, I got this indie project I'm working on. It's called Roots Homebound. Are you curious, or like I'm looking for a level designer? Are you interested in like helping out and stuff?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" So I kind of took that chance and kind of started my contract job at It Does that way. It was from just a random Discord call in a random Discord server. So um, other lists of Discord communities that I would probably suggest you guys look into just to kind of expand your horizon in terms of people and communities is Society of Play, IGDA, Game That Drink Up, and Industry Insights. All these sometimes have like an online event, so be on the lookout for that. But for those of you who are a little bit more extroverted and you like talking to people in person, some social networking events might be useful for you guys. Is Tech Arts Meetup, Unreal Engine Dallas chapter, Industry Insight, and Game That Drink Up. So Game That Drink Up is a monthly thing where you go to a specific bar downtown Plano, I believe is Vickery Park, and a lot of the game developers actually just go there once a month, hang out. You get to meet people. You get to ask them questions, stuff like that. It's pretty cool. But those are the things that I would suggest. All right. And then I kind of talked about the getting started, so I applied that and kind of just did job searches over time. And around in December, that's when I kind of applied to Gearbox, and just by chance, my portfolio and resume landed on the lead level artist's desk, and then he saw my stuff and saw I got potential. So he reached out on me via ArtStation, and he's like, "Hey, notice your portfolio and resume. You got some potential. Would you mind? Would you like to talk?" I'm like, "Absolutely, let's do it." So we went and have a little talk, and he was basically asking, "Oh, what's your focus? Like, do you want to be a level designer or do you want to be an environment artist?" And I was like, well, I enjoy doing the level design aspect of designing and white boxing everything, but at the same time, I kind of don't want to do that forever. I do miss the art side of things in terms of environment art, like so set dressing and stuff. Excuse me. So I asked him, is it possible to do both of those things that I just described into one role? And he said, yes, that is what a level artist at Gearbox does. And so he kind of walked me through how he got to where he is at Gearbox and what I should have done. So we kind of just figured out what I should be focusing in terms of my portfolio, because during this time, my portfolio was very environment art heavy. And so there wasn't really any types of level design aspect to my portfolio. And so what he suggested was for me to kit bash using kits to create levels, uh, not just like a small little chunk, but like a big chunk, like world building, basically. He basically told me that I should probably lean towards world building types of portfolio pieces to kind of get to the level artist position in terms of job searching. And so with that, I kind of just kind of lasered down my focus into that. And so unfortunately, I didn't get a job from him. There was like a bunch of hiring freeze and whatnot, and I was just still working on my portfolio pieces and wasn't ready. So was out of luck for that. But fortunately, he offered mentorship. So he mentored me on what my first big project by myself, which was this green castle over here. And then he also gave me a couple of additional resources. Humble Bundle and ArtStation Pro was his go-to or suggestion. In terms of Humble Bundles, some of you may know that Humble Bundles sells a bundle of games for very cheap. That goes for Unreal Engine Asset Pack, surprisingly. So if you go under the software tab of Humble Bundle, there is sometimes asset packs for Unreal Engine or Unity, I believe. And you basically pay like $25 and you get like 60 of them. So it's a great deal. But sometimes they do have duplicates, so be careful with that. But basically just cherry pick which asset pack you think you could utilize the most or get the most out of. Then I would suggest, spending like $25 and just buy that and kind of play around with all the sets that they give you. And then ArtStation Pro, this is not really necessary, but it could help in some cases. So what ArtStation Pro allows you to do is to upload at a higher file size as well as higher quality. At the same time, every time you post something, that post gets bumped up a little bit higher than the others since you're ArtStation Pro. But yeah, those are the two little resources that he recommended me. And boy, am I glad that I got ArtStation Pro. And you're going to see here in a sec. So by this time, I worked on my third portfolio piece, which is this castle thing. It's my pride and joy. I released it on January 18th, 2023, called Forsaken Fortress. And at some point in February 5th, the Unreal Engine social team contacted me. And he's like, hey, we're interested in showcasing your environment that you've made. Is it cool if we show off your piece on the Unreal Engine social pages? I'm like, absolutely. Why not? Free marketing. Count me in. All right. So funny enough, on April 1st, that's when they posted. Very funny day to post my stuff. But April 1st, they posted on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as X. Here's a screenshot of it. I remember waking up, getting a bunch of spams, not knowing what's happening. And then when I saw that my project was being posted by Unreal Engine, the official page on LinkedIn, I was shocked. I didn't realize that I would hit this point in life. It was great. It made me really happy. It reassured me that I was doing the right thing in terms of what I want to be in terms of career wise. But unfortunately, nothing has came out of it other than, wow, lots of exposure. But I didn't get a job for that. So it was basically back to, first square, or yeah, the first square, which is back to the waiting game. So at this point, I've been doing hundreds and hundreds of applications, and these are all of the studios that I've done interviews with. And unfortunately, none of them really land anywhere. Um, Templar Media being like the latest one. During when I'm still working at ProbablyMonsters, I just unfortunately I had to turn them down because just based on my situation, I would rather just stick at where I'm currently at ProbablyMonsters. So Templar Media was a no go, but other than that, the other studio was prior to my current position, and so I got basically denied from all of these places. But hey, um, any chance you get for an interview is great. I personally think you should just take all the interviews that you can get, because ultimately, uh, interviewing skills are a skill of like a must-have skill in terms of like, gotta get used to getting interviewed, and then that's how you kind of like train yourself to be more presentable and more professional in terms of like getting interviews. And the more interviews you do, the better you get, and the higher chance you get as well. So there's that. But ultimately, I just kind of pushed through, and on September 17th, that's when it finally happened. I got a random LinkedIn message from a design director. They're like, "Hey, we're looking for a level designer, but also has a strong environment art aesthetic. Are you interested?" I'm like, "Why the hell not? Yeah, let's do it." So the first interview, it was a high level talk about the studio, the genre, and the game, and my thoughts about the game. See if I was interested. And then the second interview was more just HR stuff, studio culture, pay range, and any questions that I had about the studio and whatnot. And then the final interview, it was an in-person lunch with the studio head, director of art, and director of design. During that interview, it was very scary for me because I was so used to just interviewing through a screen that three really big people just sits right next to me and asks me questions about what I like to do and stuff. And so that was kind of intimidating, but I persevered. Also, these interviews went by really fast. So usually interviews kind of just, you get one and then you got to wait like 2 months for another one, something like that. This interview was like once every week. So it was really fast. It was crazy. But I remember after the final interview during the nighttime, I was just shopping with my mom. I was like, man, they told me that it's going to be like about like 2 weeks to hear back from them. I'm like, oh, I should have said that. I should have said that. I probably like bombed the interview. And my mom's like, all right, I think you're overthinking about this. Funny enough, the very next day, that's when I got my offer. So very cool. But at some point, I was curious. I was like, hey, like when you hired me, like how did you find me to begin with? And they were like, oh, the studio had just randomly came across your ArtStation page, and your ArtStation page had like your LinkedIn, and so we just kind of like got you from there. I'm like, oh wow, okay, well that was anticlimactic. But yeah, that's the history of how I got my job. To recap real quick, network is very important. Even though if it's like baby steps, please try networking. Know your focus. For me, obviously, my portfolio after I graduated was everywhere. It was not very focused into what I was trying to do. I was like mostly environment art. There's like not really any level design skills put into those portfolio pieces, and so kind of cultivate your skill sets for the job that you want is very important. Also, don't be a jack of all trades. When you're trying to get into industry, you're not trying to be like a handyman with like a billion different skills. They're looking for experts in one specific topic or discipline. So try not to be a jack of all trades and just cultivate the key skills that you want to be. Or like if you want to be animator, just do animations. But you can do rigging for soft skill. Like just have skills that goes together and focus on that. Don't be like, oh, I'm going to be an animator, and all of a sudden I will also do some technical design. Like, don't do that. That's not gonna help. Invest in resources. Online courses, ArtStation Pro, Humble Bundles, any of that things that might allow you to kind of just up your skills a little bit higher. I would heavily recommend that. Perseverance and luck, as well as patience. This industry is rough. Don't get me wrong. I got really lucky. I'm very thankful for where I am today in terms of position. Like I would have never imagined I would be at such a great position. But throughout this entire time, I did have doubts. I did get scared. I did, have thoughts of, oh, maybe this is not right for me. But I persevered. I took my time. So in terms of like portfolio pieces, I spent about like maybe a month per portfolio piece. So be patient with yourself. Just don't, just don't crank out a bunch of portfolio pieces and think, oh, volume is great. Sometimes people just, or like recruiters or anyone who's looking for new hires, they rather see like one really well polished portfolio piece than a billion mediocre ones that has like little to no effort or just the bare minimum. So there's that we'll take away. But other than that, I think that's all I got. Thanks for listening. I think it's Q&A time.
All right. Well, thank you for Benny for that. I remember last time when you talked about this at the, I think it was the Unreal Engine Dallas chapter. Was it at UTD? You gave a similar presentation, and it was just cool to see, like, yeah, how you got your foot in the door, what you were doing at the time. I like hearing everybody's story of how they get in, because sometimes it's a little bit different,
It's always different. So yeah.
I like hearing those behind the scenes. Do you have a chance to pull up your portfolio so we can see some of the stuff on there? Are you able to do that?
Oh yeah, I could. Yeah.
I'm gonna look through the chat here and see if you guys are more than welcome. If you have a question you want to ask Benny, you can type it in the chat, or you can raise your hand and you can unmute and ask away. We're gonna take a look at his portfolio real quick on ArtStation.
Yep. So this is like when I got first hired. It was like about, let's see, I think it was like 2 months after I got hired. I got bored during Christmas because we had such a long Christmas break. I was like, I'm just gonna make a little tiny environment. So this is what I did. It's a little dark soul like catacomb thing. I don't know what to call it. But yeah.
The catacombs.
Here you can see. Yeah. Here you can see just me just layering on things. So this is how I basically kind of show off my process in terms of my creation. So obviously it's all started with a block out, and then I just slowly but surely adding more and more details. Yeah. Oh, I just got a follow.
They knew you were live, and they were just
yeah. Got a follower live. Oh,
that's awesome.
Yeah, let me just pause this. Actually, I have a better portfolio that shows this off a little better. All right, here's my pride and joy. Pride and joy castle. All right, so instead of looking at that first, we're gonna go down here. I'm gonna kind of explain my process for like a level designer or a level artist. you start off with the block out. Like this was crucial. During my final interview, they were like, "So do you do any blockouts?" I'm like, "Yes." So I have to pull up my phone and show them like, "Look, I did block out. Look, this is a block out. Look, I added things as I go." Wow, there's a limit. That's crazy. All right, I'll try to go fast, but obviously you can see I just keep layering on detail after detail after detail, and that's how I kind of just explain to them how I work. So obviously block out into the bigger details, and then just putting in the smaller details as you go.
Do not you work in like phases like that? Like you do the large architectural details first, and then you kind of work your way down in size, or do you do it section by section? What is your workflow with that?
Okay, so I think it varies. For this one, it's too damn big. This project's like way too damn big. I did in sections for this one. At least. Yeah. So in sections, and then bigger reads into smaller reads. That's always the pattern, is bigger reads and then smaller reads, because you kind of want to get the bigger reads in first so you can see what it might look like, and then the smaller reads obviously is just details. So you don't need to worry about that so much when you're still like in the early phases of planning and whatnot. So
I got you. Okay.
Yep.
And feel free to just oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, or ask, how much experience did you have with like architecture before kind of starting some of these projects? Because the architecture, I know you're using a kit and whatnot, but like it feels very believable, like a very believable place, in the terrain and whatnot too. Yeah. Did you do a lot of research and reference before you start these kind of projects? Where do you kind of get your kind of like inspiration and that? Yeah,
from? Usually that's what people would do is take reference. Please, everyone, like, please take references, study it before you do this. I've been doing this for so long that like I just literally pull up the Hogwarts Legacy like game screen, and I was like, okay, I know exactly what I need to do, that type of thing. But please do your research first. Don't be like me. I'm just weird like that. I just like. So like sometimes I would be like looking at like random documentaries, so I kind of pick up like those like natural, like what organic stuff looks like, and then with like a combination of just looking at like when I'm playing games, I don't even play the game now. I just stare at this floor. I'm like,
study the environment, the architecture.
They got rocks right here, and then it's slowly like transition to like this flowers and grass, and so I kind of study the game more than playing the game now. So that helps a lot in terms of like seeing like what looks real and stuff. So just overall, just like a lot of observation that I've done over the course of time, that I'm like, okay, I know exactly what I need to exactly do. But do your research. Please do your research. My research is just coming from me just being bored.
Research and what is it? Reverse engineering. There we go.
Yep. Exactly.
That's awesome. I think we have a couple in the chat. I'm going to read them out. Lux asked, what did you do for money while waiting for your first job to get in? So like while you were building your portfolio, what were you doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I just need something in the background. All right. So what I did, I worked at a bowling place when I was still just fresh out of college, and just started doing portfolio pieces. Excuse me. This portfolio piece I've done basically after work. I know it's really tiring, but it is just something that you just gotta do. Like if you want something bad enough, you will just sacrifice something to just get to that point, right? So after work, I would just work on this like portfolio piece. This was like the first portfolio piece that I worked continuously on after work. It was not fun. I was really tired. I didn't have the motivation, but I just had to push through. I knew I just had to push through in order to just make progress into trying to achieve my goal. So yeah, I just worked like your typical job before doing this.
You have a long day and then coming home and have to push yourself to
continue
on it.
Someone asked to for my art station link.
Yeah, I was about to mention that. You got it. Okay.
Sorry about that, guys.
How many hours do you think you put into this particular piece? Or he said the first one. I'm assuming that's the other.
The first one, I'm assuming this one, right? If it's not this one,
or
I'll
the one that
go
we
back.
just looked at. Yeah.
Yeah, you can point at it or describe it. But for this green one, I believe it's also a month, but it was like on and off because I had work. I say about maybe like 20 hours.
20 hours? Okay.
Yeah, about like 20 hours, I would say.
And these, when you were talking about the using like a kit bash, those are those pieces already assembled like Lego kits, and then you took those to build the environment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to just hold on. If you just look up like modular kits, you can see like there is a floor piece, there's a fence, there is a tower. You know, like so you kind of just like bash them together and just create some sort of structure out of them.
Right. So they have so many dungeons and environments and like Elder Scrolls and.
Yeah, those are all modular kit pieces.
Fallout.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
believe it or not.
Yeah. When working in a studio, do you use concept art to get a level's mood and or lighting?
At a bigger studio, you might, but our studio's pretty small. So funny enough, I would be doing that as well. I would just basically be the concept guy at the same time as the level designer. And so I would just rough out like a quick, layout of the level, and then I put some lights to kind of just get the mood. Usually that's what I usually do for literally every single one of my pieces. And so it's just kind of part of my workflow anyways. But sometimes they do just take my really rough blockouts and just create concept art out of them. Unfortunately, I can't show any of that yet. So it would be cool to show you guys, but yeah.
Let us know when that becomes available. Yeah, but that is okay. Course. Yeah. When you work on these kind of projects, it's very very hush hush. Yeah. This is great info. Okay, Philip asks, I'm primarily a 3D artist. Is there a focus you would recommend, or just displaying a variety of 3D models?
So in terms of 3D artists, it could become like basically like a skill tree in a game. So 3D model artist is very general, but you could go into organic modeling. You could go into hard surface modeling. You could go into sculpting. So there's a lot of stuff. So it really depends on what you're trying to do. So for example, if you really like to make like very industrial stuff or like ships, stuff like with like very ornate details, that's basically hard surface modeling. So you would probably focus on doing all of that to become a hard surface modeler. If you like to make trees or rocks or any of these organic stuff that you see in games, that would be like organic modeling. So you'd be sculpting trees, sculpting rocks, and those are literally a job. Is like some AAA jobs, you would literally just be the rock guy. All you do is just make rocks.
Rock guy. Are you the castle guy then? Are you the castle
guy? I got called the castle guy.
You're the castle guy. So did you when you went through school, because you went to UTD, correct? So because you took the level or the virtual environments class. I think I remember taking that. That was a great class. Is there any other classes you recommend that people kind of try to take if they're trying to go more into what you're doing, like on a level art side?
Level design, as high as you can get. I took up until level design 2. That was the highest you can take at UTD. Okay. And then virtual environment, I took that into 2, the highest you can do. So those two, just doing those two, basically got me to know exactly what I want to do.
Where you're at, okay.
But yeah, taking those two is very critical because what I do right now you have to know both like what looks good, what looks very pleasing, and what helps frame the level design that you're trying to convey. So you use two of both classes skills together as one disciplinary thing.
Combining both of those skill sets.
Yep.
I got you. Okay, that's a good way to think about that. So Sitlali was asking, what is the program at UTD called that you went through?
Right. At the time I was taking it, it's called ATEC. I believe they're now called BAST, BAST. I believe.
Changed the name.
Yeah, they changed the name, but the curricular should be better than what I had, because it's been like what? It's been like 4 years, 4 or 5 years. No, more than that. 4 years? Yeah, 4 years. It's been 4 years, so the curriculum has changed and the material is just so much better. I've seen some undergrads, and wow, I wish I was like at their position right now. It's like, wow, you guys are taking so much stuff that's like way cooler than what I used to.
I know when I left, that's when they started building that giant building. I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I'm jelly. Oh, I just got another one. Another question from Lucy. On your team, do you have someone that comes in after you to do your level block out, fill it in, or are you responsible for that? I'm assuming she's talking about art-wise, but yeah.
Oh, art-wise?
I'm assuming that's what she's talking about, but maybe she can correct me.
Maybe. Could you clarify?
You're doing art-wise? She said yes.
Okay. Art-wise, actually, okay, so they hired me because I was able to do both. And so what I do is I usually block it out, get my approval, and then just kind of fill out like a really rough like maybe like 30 to 40% with like assets that we already have, just to kind of get the environment artist like an idea of like what I'm trying to go for. Usually that speeds up like the process of the environment artist dressing it up like drastically. So I just get it to like 40%. They come in, they see the vision, they just go at it.
And they go after it. Okay.
Yep.
I go in there. Lucy has decided she wants to be an environment artist. Woo!
Great. Awesome.
Join the clan.
For everyone else, or for everyone that's in here, feel free to like reach out to me if you have any like questions after this.
What's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
You could message me on LinkedIn. You could just message me on Discord. Honestly, everywhere. I'm slightly chronically online, so
slightly chronically. Slightly chronically. Well, I think we only have like 1 or 2 minutes left, but is there anybody else that has any questions for Benny? Anything you want to ask? I do have one about Grimhook there, and I know about it because you told us last time. But what was Grimhook for you? What was your
Grimhook? Man, that was like such a in the middle of like me making environments. So at some point, a bunch of UTD students did a game jam and then they were making a game called Grimhook, which is like a parkour type game where you have a hook and you gotta like grapple towards it and you gotta just run through the level, parkour style. And they were lacking a lot of artists to like set dress the stuff, so they kind of just asked me as an alumni to just kind of help out. So I just took it, just did it. But yeah.
Nice. Did anybody looking at your portfolio talk to you about that one specifically, like more team-based projects, or is it more just your solo stuff?
It was mainly focused on my other stuff because
other stuff. Okay.
Yeah, this was more of just like, oh, I can work on a little small team. I can do like set dressing.
Okay, after so there's more experience for you then.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I got you. I got it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you everybody for coming out. Thank you, Benny, for doing this. I really appreciate it. It's cool to see behind the scenes of where everybody is at with their game development journey, and I'm looking forward to see some of the games that you're working out. Hopefully, we're going to see them here in the next, I don't know, year or two, maybe shorter than that. I can't say. Can't say. Maybe.
AV.
Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, thank you again, sir. And hopefully you guys got something out of this. And yeah, if you guys want to get in contact with Benny and ask him some questions, definitely do so. And hopefully you guys can build some really awesome portfolios too.